Hey everybody, this is Bryan, and I wanted to jump in another episode of the Tribute to My Grandpa. And as I'm thinking about the way things look and set up, I'm wondering who dresses me, because I look like a floating head with my gray, blue. Anyways, I'm glad to be here, glad to share a little bit more of my grandpa. And as I'm thinking about my grandpa, he was always a person that just got things done. I don't remember, one of my cousins, Melissa, thank you for sharing this, because I definitely feel the same sentiment. He was never idle. I don't remember my grandpa ever just sitting around doing nothing. Even in his later years, he might watch some Jeopardy, but he was always using his mind. He was always like thinking about something, using something. I don't feel like my grandpa was a time waster at all. And I feel like right now, and the way things are, it's just a different climate. It's a different society. It's different than the way it was when he grew up. I was listening to some audios that I recorded of him years ago, about 4 years ago now, and he was talking about how his life was just pretty simple, like the refrigerator. Like when he was out on the ranch taking care of sheep, he had to hang his meat out at night so it stayed cold, and then put it under his bed at night or in the day so that it would be cold. It's just so interesting, the things we don't have to think about or worry about, and I'm grateful for the convenience that we have, but I think that we're apathetic and forget some things. And so the poem I want to jump right into today and share, my grandpa, he wasn't unemotional. He wasn't a guy that never showed his feelings. But I will say that you don't always see my grandpa cry. And this is a poem that got my grandpa to kind of tear up a little bit. And it's a poem. It's titled "You." He didn't write this poem, but he recites it. It's one of his. I don't know. It's in his collection, so I'm guessing it's one of his favorites. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put it in or recited it like he had. And so I hope you'll listen to this and take a look at what you are doing in your life, and taking a look at what is happening right now in the country, in the world, and how you're showing up for it. And think about how that affects the way that you are. Because we can become better people, or we can step back. And my grandpa was one that always stepped up. I don't feel like he was a prestigious man in my eyes, but I don't think that anybody thought of him as like this bang on the pulpit leader of millions of people. It wasn't that, but he was a humble, consistent, and very diligent worker. That's what my grandpa was. And so I feel like this poem really just shows up who he is, and tells us a little more about who he expected, and maybe some of these thoughts were some of the thoughts that he had of himself as he was growing up. And those are the thoughts that I want to have of myself as well, even though, I have my own struggles and we make mistakes. But right now, I know people that are abnegating responsibility, and I recognize that I'm not perfect either. But man, we got to do better as a society, and I feel like if there's ever a time to do it, it's now. So check out the poem my grandpa is reciting here, and I'll see you next week.
This is You by Edgar A. Guest. You are the person who has to decide whether you'll do it or toss it aside. You are the person who makes up your mind whether you'll lead or you'll linger behind, whether you'll strive for the goal that's afar or just be contented to stay where you are. Take it or leave it. Here's something to do. Just think it over. It's all up to you. What do you wish? To be known as a shirk, or known as a person who's willing to work? Shunned as a loafer, or praised by your chief? Rich man or poor man, or beggar or thief? Eager and earnest, or dull by the day? Honest or crooked? It's you who must say. You must decide in the face of the test whether you'll shirk or will give it your best. Nobody here will compel you to rise. No one will force you to open your eyes. No one will answer for you yes or no, whether you'll stay there or whether you'll go. Life is a game, and it's you who must say whether as cheat or as sportsman you'll play. Fate may betray you, but you settle first, whether you live to your best or your worst. So whatever it is you're wanting to be, remember to fashion the choice you are free. Kindly or selfish, or gentle or strong, keeping the right way or taking the wrong, careless of honor or guarding your pride. All these are questions that you must decide. Yours the selection, but whichever you do, this thing men call character is all up to you.